Lately I've been thinking about this life and how it brought me here. Staring at this man in the mirror, I see him often. He'll wipe my tears. Only if you knew what I was going through. Only if you walked it in my shoes. Certain things don't like to talk about, but I'll always remember. The chaos in my mind turned my heart out in November. I'm surrounded by too many doors.
Welcome to the Message is Hope podcast. My name is Mike.
My name is Adam.
And we're here to give a message of hope to anyone that might be listening out there. You want to get started?
Yeah, let's get started, bro.
All right, bro.
All right.
So, where'd you grow up, Adam?
So I grew up in San Bernardino, California, Southern California. Pretty known for being a rough neighborhood, a rough city. I probably lived in every rough neighborhood you could think of in San Bernardino, you know. And so, yeah, man, that was kind of, you know, the way I grew up. It was normal. It was poverty. I come from a welfare family, right? I was raised by a single mother, right? My dad was like in and out of the picture, stuff like that. So I really never built a real bond with him. You know, my mom was an addict like us. And, you know, I never seen my mom, well, when I was a kid, right? Growing up, I never seen my mom like actively use drugs in front of me. She didn't have like a bunch of people in the house. She wasn't those kind of addicts, right? But I knew that there was something going on. I knew that she was getting loaded. I knew that there was like weird stuff going on, right? And I remember this one moment when I was a kid, someone was like banging at the door like 3 o'clock in the morning, right? And so I remember like running to the room door and just so like everybody knows, like we was a 1-bedroom apartment, yeah, right? And it was me, my mom, and my sister, and we would sleep in the same queen size bed, bro. Right? Yeah. And actually me and my mom, my two sisters. And so we would lay like the short way, right? And like I got so tall for the bed, my mom got like a milk crate and she put like a pillow on the milk crate so that my feet wouldn't hang off the bed, you know? And that was just like how we lived, bro. You know, I slept on the couch also, all that stuff. But I remember as a kid, maybe like 8, 9 years old, like running to go see who was at the door and someone's talking to my mom. And my mom walks past me and I like hide and then I look and I see my mom like putting her hand under the restroom sink. I could see it through the hallway, right? Yeah. And so I went back to bed, and the next day I went and I looked at it, right? And so I went to under the sink and I pulled it out. And I love you, Mom, by the way. And I pulled it out, and there was like a bunch of baggies with white substances in it, right? I didn't know what it was at the time. I now know that it was methamphetamine, and so forth and so forth, man. I grew up with a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, right? A lot of like low self-worth. I remember being like the poor kid in school, like never having the cool shoes, always having like holes in my knees, right? Like in my pant knees, you know. I had the bow haircut, right? Where my mom like literally put like a bow on my head and like cut it, or my tia, whatever it was at the time, right? And yeah, man, and just always feeling insufficient, never feeling good enough, right? Like I remember my mom, like we always having to move from place to place, sleeping on this aunt's couch, that friend's living room. I remember like the gas man would pull up and my mom would be sitting at the window, like literally praying, like, please God, don't let it be here for us, right? Because she wasn't able to afford the gas bill, the light bill, right? And yeah, man, that's just how we lived, bro, for a long time. I remember having to go to the neighbor's house and ask for a glass of milk so that my mom could make some, you know, mac and cheese. And just always feeling so little and so less than all of my peers and everybody that was around me. So yeah, that's like the gist of my childhood.
So you just had one sibling living with you?
No, I had my two sisters. So I have a sister who's a year younger than me. Then I have a sister who is 5 years younger than me. So it was us three. So
you were the oldest.
I was the oldest. I was the man of the house, and I have other sisters from my dad. Yeah.
Was it always like that? Like you were the man of the house growing up?
Oh, from a young age. As long as I can remember. Wow. Yeah, I remember at 5 years old feeling safe, feeling like everything was okay. And somewhere around like 8, 9, like the tables kind of turned on me. And we moved from one neighborhood to another neighborhood because my house had got shot up when I was 8 years old. Wow. So my cousins would hang out in front of my house on one side of San Bernardino, right? And they're from a neighborhood and stuff like that. And so people came by and they like shot up my whole house.
You were in it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They turned around and then they shot it up again, bro, right? And I remember I was watching Simpsons my mom and my sisters went to the room to lay down. And I remember watching Simpsons and hitting the ground and like putting my hand on my head, and I would feel like the drywall, falling on my head.
And you knew what to do.
I knew what to do. I don't know how I knew, but I mean, that's the kind of environment I grew up in, right? So it was very instinctual. Like, when you hear gunshots, get on the floor.
Hit the deck.
Yeah, hit the deck, bro.
Yeah.
Hit the deck, right? Yeah. And so like at that point, my mom took us out of that neighborhood and she moved us into another neighborhood because she didn't want me to become a gang member. She didn't want me to like mimic my cousin because I was already mimicking them. I was already like trying to throw up gang signs even though I didn't know what they were, right?
Yeah.
I was already like trying to do all that. So my mom wanted to move me out of that situation and put me in another situation thinking that it would be better. But the truth is that the neighborhood that we lived in was actually worse than the neighborhood that we came from, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
So at what age did drugs or alcohol come into the picture for you?
So,
Like it was in the picture
yes.
since as long as you can remember.
Yes.
But when did you start using them yourself?
About 12 years old.
12 years old.
12 years old is when I smoked my first joint,
Okay.
right? I was hanging out. I still remember I don't remember the day, but it was like
I do too.
Yeah. It was like
remember
it
that
was
day
rainy,
too. Yeah.
gloomy, right? And like we're in these apartment complexes where my mom had moved us to, right? And it was like a whole bunch of apartments.
I know those.
The yellows, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
I'm familiar.
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
from San Bernardino, the yellows back in the days was a rough place, right? And I remember like hanging out with the older guys and smoking a joint for the first time.
Yeah.
Right. And again, like we come from poverty, right? So like all my mom, like at the end of the month, all we had was sopa and beans, right? So they were like the shell sopas, right, which is soup, right? The shell macaronis with like some tomato
Cheesy
sauce.
shells?
Yeah. So there was like shells. There's the macaroni elbows or the elbow macaronis, right? There's like the ABCs. They had the stars, right? But it all tasted the same, bro, right?
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, man, that I didn't like that stuff, bro. I didn't like the beans. I didn't like, you know what I'm saying? Like I was always I wanted meat on my plate, and there was times where we didn't have enough money for that meat, bro, and all we had was the beans and rice or the beans and sopa, right? And so I remember coming home, right, to a house, a 1-bedroom apartment with my mom and my sisters. I was high. My mom was loud, obnoxious. It's funny, bro, because I used to think that I was a quiet one in my family.
Yeah.
Right? But the truth is, right, like when I share at meetings and so forth,
Yeah.
people are like, you're loud, dude. So like I realize I'm just as loud as the rest of my family, which is whatever, right? Yeah. So
You might have been loud there, or the quietest one there.
Yeah. But I'm definitely most of the time the loudest one in the room now. But and so I went home. My mom was loud, obnoxious, probably throwing something at me, probably bitching about something else, right? Just all that stuff that.
Because she knew you were high?
No, just because that was just our normal living, bro.
Oh, okay.
Right? And I want to emphasize that my mom, I love my mom. She did the best she could with what she knew. She loved us. Me and my sister, we were talking about this the other day. That one thing she taught us, bro, was she taught us that family was the most important thing. She would tell us she would tell us, like, it didn't matter if we had Christmas presents. It didn't matter if we had, like, a Christmas tree. It didn't matter, like, any of that stuff. Like, as long as we had each other, then we were okay. And that was the best thing she could have ever taught me because, raising my kids, everything that's going on in the world, it's hard to live up to my own expectations. And I have to remember that, like, as long as I have my kids and as long as we have each other and we're okay, right? And I try to teach my kids that. And so she was a good mom, but she was sick, bro. She was loaded, right? And so, like, for the first, she'd get paid. And for, like, the first 15 days of the month, she was loaded and in a good mood and active. And then for the last 15 days, she was in a bad mood and she wasn't, she didn't feel that good or she was coming down or whatever the case may be. And that's when we got hit excessively, and so forth and so forth. And so, yeah, that's kind of like what it was like. So I remember going home after I smoked that joint and all we had was beans and rice to eat, right?
You had the munchies.
Yeah, so that night the beans and rice tasted fucking amazing, right? They were good, right? I had this thing. I always love mayonnaise, bro. So I throw some mayonnaise in the beans, bro. And eat it with some tapatio, whatever we had, right? And it was good, right? I didn't care that we were poor, right? I didn't care that my mom was yelling. I didn't care about any of the normal stuff, right? Like what I understand today, bro, is that like there was always something inside of me that they had like this poor Adam syndrome, right? It was always poor Adam, poor Adam, poor Adam. He grew up in the ghetto. He did this, he was abused here. He was done that, right? And when I smoked weed for the first time, it like opened the door, right?
Yeah.
Where I could escape my reality, even for that brief moment, even for that hour and a half, whatever that high lasted. And I want to tell you, man, like at 12 years old, I didn't think to myself, oh, I'm going to be a drug addict, right? Like everything's like, but something changed in me, bro.
It was
right?
relief. I
It
think.
was relief,
Yeah.
right? It was
That
a
was
reward.
my experience.
Yeah.
I finally had some relief. I didn't even know that I had been going through anything.
Yeah.
But the first time it was alcohol for me.
Huh.
It was relief.
Right.
So after the weed, where'd it go?
Uh,
And how long did the weed last before it escalated?
The weed lasted a while, bro. I became a stoner, bro.
Yeah.
I love to smoke, right? Anytime so for a while it was like touch and go wherever I could get my hands on there. I'm a 12-year-old kid, bro. That's like middle school, right?
You know what's crazy too is like we were in environments where it was okay for a grown man to pass a 12-year-old a joint, bro.
For sure, and much
That's
more,
crazy to think about.
and
but,
much
like,
more. Yes,
that was our experience. So
yeah, it was, bro. It was, and the beautiful thing is I don't tolerate that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my kids, my family, we drink. When I don't drink, right? But my family drinks. My whole family does, right? And so, like, they allow 15, 16-year-olds to drink that are part of the family, and that's just part of the culture, right?
Right.
But for me,
yeah,
I refuse to allow my kids to be part of that culture. I refuse to allow them to open up that door. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And when they're old enough to drink responsibly, we'll go for there, bro. But for right now, right, that is not okay with me, right? So back to like everything, right? So I smoked weed whenever I could, but then it got to a point where it was a daily habit, right? Everybody has that kid with the eye drops. You got the cologne, right? Probably some cheap cologne, right? But some cologne.
The Rotos.
Yeah. Some I think it was Adidas back then, right?
The eye drop.
Oh yeah,
Rotos.
yeah. And then the gum and all that stuff, man. And then and I would drink, but drinking it wasn't really for me, right? Like I would drink when I went to parties and when I went out because weed just made me sit in my chair and laugh, right? And so like if I wanted to like enjoy my environment, I would drink. And so I mean there was definitely some nights where I overly drank and I threw up on myself or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah, you were a
And
kid.
about 15 years old, maybe 14, I was introduced to meth. It was like ninth grade. I was introduced to meth for the first time. And it didn't spiral out of control right away, right? Meth was like my second love. Weed was my first love.
Yeah.
Whenever I had it, I would do dope, right? Whatever the case may be, man. I was 15 years old, right? So I hung out with a bunch of dudes, bro, right? We were taggers. We ride on walls, we fight, we rob, we steal, right? I was kind of being mentored by the gang members in the neighborhood, right? And then we were taught how to maneuver, how to hold ourselves. And we were stealing a car one day, right? And so we were stealing a car. My buddy, we're going to these apartments. My buddy pulls up in the stolen car. We're all waiting outside the gate, right? The gate's opening, and the dude's car that we were stealing just happened to be at the gate, bro. Right? So he tries to punch the window out, right?
Yeah.
And he tries to punch the window out. My buddy gets out of the gate, right? And me and my other friends start running, bro. Right? As we're running, the guys are chasing us now, bro. Right?
You were outside the gate.
I was
waiting for
outside the
him to
gate
come
waiting
with
for him to come with the car, with the little Honda, right?
Yeah.
And so we're running. I was 15 years old, bro, running down the street from these guys, right? And my buddy pulls up next to us, and he's looking back, and I'm trying to open up the door, but the door's locked. I see these guys running, so I start running. My buddy pulls off without looking, and he hits me, bro.
Oh,
So he hits me with his car. I roll off the car, right? And I get up and I start running, right? These guys, they catch me. They beat me up, right? They leave knots all over my head because, I'm not stupid. These are grown men, so I just ball up, right?
Yeah.
They pull down my pants, bro, right? So I just have my boxers on, but they pull down my pants so I can't run. They steal my brand new K-Swiss, right? And they're just beating me, bro. Telling me, where are my friends? Where are my friends? Luckily this family came by and they're like, you guys need to stop. He's a kid. Like call they call the cops. And I'm going to tell you, bro, I was so grateful that they called the cops because they were going to kill me, bro. They're asking about a gun, bring it over, this and that,
Yeah.
And anyway, so I got put on probation, right? So on probation,
Just because you were involved?
well, yeah, they got me for attempted GTA.
Wow.
Yeah, they got me for attempted GTA, right? They had to take me in the ambulance, right, to go see my mom first. So like my mom pulls up, I'm all beat up, bro. I'm, handcuffed to a gurney, right? And they're telling me that like, they're gonna take me to the hospital, and then they're gonna take me to juvenile hall, right? And so what happened is I ended up being put on probation, right? My
So
mom
you went to juvenile hall.
I went to juvenile hall for one night.
Okay.
So my experience with jail and juvenile halls is very limited, right? A few overnighters. I think the most I did is like 2 weeks, something like that, right?
It's a little vacation.
Excuse me. And so they put me on probation. Now probation tests you once a month,
Yeah.
right? So I can't smoke weed now. So now the love of my life has been taken away from me, right? But I'm a good addict, bro. I'm smart,
Yeah.
right? So I'm like, okay, well, I could do meth, right? Because I could smoke meth 27 days out of the month and then clean up for 3 days, go test clean.
And you knew that then.
And I knew that then.
Wow.
Yeah, I knew that then, bro. I was already manipulating the system then. And that's kind of where meth really like got involved with my life. That's when if I had money, I was going to buy meth, right? If I was hanging out with people, I was trying to hang out with meth, right? And there wasn't a lot of people my age. I mean, there was, but at the same time, there wasn't. Everybody was still like in their partying phase. They want to drink, they want to smoke, right? And so forth, right? So I'll kind of like speed this up a little bit, right? But everything took a turn for the worse when I was 18. I was 18 years old, and I lost my cousin, right? My cousin, rest in peace, Michael. He was 17 years old. He was drinking, and smoking weed, and they're on a little dirt bike, a little mini dirt bike, and it was over there by a wash, and so they would drive out to the wash and then drive back down the street, and I guess he went out there and never came back, and that's when like everything like just came crumbling down on me, and he was.
Was it an accident?
It was an accident. Of course,
he wrecked it.
I don't remember all the details. I just know the truck was turning. There was nowhere for him to go. He smacked the side of the truck, went under, and the wheels, and I wanted to kill somebody. Where I was at in that point in my life, I was like, I wish, because we were getting into trouble with people, right? We had people trying to hurt us badly, and I was trying to hurt people badly, and I remember thinking like, why couldn't he have been killed by somebody, right? So that I could go out there and at least like seek his revenge and pay people back for the hurt that I was going through, man. And my cousin was everything, bro. Like he was a good kid. He was like good looking, bro, well spoken, everything that I felt that I wasn't, right?
Yeah.
He was athletic. He, I was trying to do math. He was trying to smoke weed, right? I was trying to have sex with girls. He was trying to talk to them. I was trying to stab people. He was trying to have one-on-ones with them. Like there was, he was just, and I kind of groomed him, and I taught him how to behave like a man, and then like we don't do this and we don't do that, like the same way that I was taught, right?
Yeah.
And I just seen, like, I felt like if he could be successful, then I could be successful, right? Like if I could see him grow up and become the man that I know that he could be, then at least I know I did something with my life to help groom him and get him to that place, right? And when I lost him, bro, I lost hope. I lost everything, bro. It took 2 weeks to bury him. From the day he died to his funeral, it took 2 weeks. Yeah. We had to raise money, car washes, so forth and so forth. And that was the first time that I stayed up for 2 weeks straight. And
this whole 2 weeks.
Yep, for the whole 2 weeks. And I remember this lady, bro, when I first got clean, this lady, she would share about this stuff she was going on with her son. Her son was kidnapped and so forth. And she talked about how people were giving her sympathy dope, right? And so that's what it was for me, bro. People were giving me sympathy dope, bro. I'd go over there with $5-10,
yeah,
right? And they would shoot me a half a gram, right? And the way my mental state was, bro, and as early in my addiction as I was, bro, like that, like a little bit went a long way.
Yeah.
And I remember not sleeping the whole time, bro. And I became very suicidal. I was mad at God. I was mad at him. I felt like I remember like nights like laying up and screaming at him like, why would you leave me here? Like how can you allow me to, because before like having a fellowship, bro, I didn't have people to talk to. I didn't have people to like talk about my deepest, darkest secrets. And he's the only person that I would ever like really get honest with because I knew I could trust him with everything, right? And vice versa, bro. We went through a lot as cousins. We were the only boy cousins around the same age. So we were like this. I mean, when we were kids, all we did was fight. But, even back then, like we played sumo wrestler. We played like pillows in our shoulders, you know what I'm saying? And we'd play football or, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It was just always being Michael. And
like your brother.
Like that's 100% my brother, right? And so losing him was, I felt like I lost my world, bro. And this is before kids, before anything. And really all I had was him, my cousins and all my other family, and my mom and my sisters. And everything just got really dark, bro. And I remember I was being with this girl. I was loaded, bro. She wasn't loaded. She would drink and smoke, but I was doing meth in the restroom. And there was like a long time, bro, like 3 weeks straight that I would sit in the restroom with my back pressed up against the door because the door wouldn't lock. And I would have a razor like pressed into my wrist and begging, like, just give me the strength to just end this. Yeah. And because of the beliefs that I was raised with, right? I knew that if I took my life, I wasn't gonna go where my cousin was, and that's not what I wanted. And that's the only thing that kept me from killing myself. In that point, and if it wasn't for that belief system, bro, I would have took myself out easily, and so I got into a dark place, bro, and my disease really took off. It stopped being about weed, it stopped being about alcohol, and it just started being about using meth on a daily basis as much as possible, whenever possible, however possible. Like, it just didn't matter, bro. I just wanted to numb everything that I was feeling. And to be honest, man, it worked for the most part, bro, right?
That's the trouble with drugs. They work for that.
Really well.
Yeah.
Right?
Really well.
Yeah. And to the bitter end, and then it becomes a whole different story, right?
Yeah.
I end up meeting, I'm now, fast forward 20 years old.
Yeah.
I thought that everything was a problem. I thought my surrounding was a problem. I thought that the homies were the problem. I thought that everything was a problem. The only thing that I could never see for the problem was my drug use, right? So I let go of all the homies. I let go of the street life in a sense, right? I was kind of like solo dolo, like I'm just going to do me, walk around with machetes and knives and I'll be okay. Like nobody, you know what I'm saying? Like untouchable, right? Like I was so insane, bro. Like if you had a gun and I had a machete, I thought that I had the upper hand, bro. Cause I'm going to hide in your tree. Right, and I'm gonna jump down like a ninja. Never did it, thank God. But jump down like a ninja, whatever. Right, that's how sick I was, bro. Right, thought I was Bruce Lee with a sword, and and so and I met this woman, and we decided to have some kids together, bro. And it was a conscious decision, which is crazy because we had nothing going for ourselves. Right, she was an addict, I was an addict. Like all we did was get loaded. Right. And I thought, what better way to make this better than to have a kid? And so we had 2 kids, man.
Yeah, a lot of people think having a kid or getting married will fix everything, but it didn't happen. So you started having kids with her.
Yeah.
And then what happened? You continue to use, right?
Yeah. Nothing ever really stopped me from using until this last time, bro. I'm just gonna be honest, bro. Right? I have 2 daughters that were born under the influence of methamphetamine.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, and so I carried that for years, bro. Right? Yeah. Like I could minimize, justify, and rationalize all my actions. Right? It was her fault. She should have been like she should have been the mom. She should have been the one to know. But the truth is, bro, like I allowed her to get loaded so that I could get loaded in peace. Right?
Yeah.
And so I had 2 daughters born under the influence of methamphetamine, man. CPS kind of started stepping into our lives. And all the way up until this point, man, I convinced myself that I could stop whenever I wanted to.
Yeah.
Right? I convinced myself that it was fun.
Yeah.
Right? Like I literally, bro, robbed, stole, cheated, lied, manipulated, like all that stuff. I did all that stuff to be mentally ill, bro, because I heard voices, I seen shadows, I thought people were out to get me, right? I was insane, bro, insane.
Yeah.
Insane. And I convinced myself that I was having fun. I convinced myself that I had some kind of control. I convinced myself that I could stop whenever I wanted. I just like getting loaded, right? And I remember when CPS first stepped into our lives, bro. They came to the house, right? I'm out on my front porch of these apartments, sharpening a machete, bro.
Yes.
Right? So me, my sister, my baby's mom, and my mom just got done getting high in the restroom, like literally. And I told my mom I'm going to sharpen my machete outside on the porch. And of course, she said, go ahead.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm out there on the porch. I'm like, shh, shh, shh. Sharpening this machete on a porch in these apartment complexes, bro. Right? Where all the houses are facing to each other, bro. Right?
Yeah. You had to let everybody know you were ready.
Well, I think that was the kind of the message, bro, because I had got into it with some youngsters down the street and we got in a fight. They tried to jump me anyways, right? Long story that I don't need to tell, right? But it got into some heat and I'm like, well, I'm going to let everybody know I'm ready, right?
Yeah.
And this lady starts walking up and my sister says, hey, Adam, that's a worker. You might want to put that away. And I said, fuck that bitch. She ain't here for us.
Yeah.
Shh, shh. She comes up to the house. She said, is Adam and so-and-so here? And you know, the relationship I've always had with my mom, I handed her my weapon. I've handed her multiple weapons for her to put away in a hiding place or whatever, right? Yeah. I handed her my weapon, and somehow this lady had enough balls to come in the house with us, right? She comes in the house, she's sitting down, bro. I am so loaded, right? All I could think about, bro, was if she gets on the phone to call the cops to come get my kids, I'm going to jump on top of her. I'm going to tie her up. I'm going to throw her in the closet, and I'm going to run.
Sounds like a solid plan.
That's as good as it got for me, bro. That's the only logic that I can come up with. And the truth is, bro, all my family lives in San Bernardino. I don't know anybody at this point. I don't know anybody outside the walls of San Bernardino. Like, where am I gonna go?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is after my second daughter's born. And you know, kind of give you a little bit of backstory. Like, she had a daughter who's my daughter now, who was 4 years old when I met her. She is not my stepdaughter. In any kind of way. She's 100% my daughter. I love that kid. She's amazing young woman, and so proud of her, you know. And so she hands us this paper at the end of the conversation. She says, you guys got to get clean. You guys got to start going to these meetings. And if you don't stay clean, you're going to lose your kids. My baby's mom said, I'm not getting loaded. And I said, well, I am. I picked up a little bag, right? I don't even know how I picked up that bag, bro, because I'm talking about, like the crazy thing is, bro, my using, there was nothing glamorous about my using. I wasn't like a half ounce kind of guy. I wasn't like I never seen pounds. I never been in rooms where there was like shipments. I never did any of that, bro. My life was like, you know, $7 at a time, bro. Yeah. $8 at a time. Like, if I could just get $8, I know I could get like a good $15 worth of dope, and I'm okay, bro. Right? There were times where I was selling dope and I had like handfuls, and in my head I'm gonna turn to 2 handfuls, but I always stayed 1 handful until I started putting needles in my arm. Then it's like no handful, right? And I'm right back to grinding it out again, right? Yeah. And so, go ahead.
So for me, when that happened to me, I know how I went and picked up, and it's the same way, like you were talking about your cousin passing. Yeah. And it was sympathy dope. Yeah. I used the situation that happened to me to go get sympathy dope. Right. After the worker came and to talk to me. Right. And so it's crazy that works, but it worked for me that day. Yeah. And that's how I did it. But
you know why, bro? Because when you're in the drug world, that's the only way we know how to show each other love. Yeah. Right? Like I remember, bro, like one of my sisters, right, we would get loaded together, and the way I showed her love was I would go to her house, I would smoke her out, and I would give her some dope. Yeah. And the way she showed me love was she would come to my house, she would smoke me out, and she would shoot me some dope, right?
Normally, like in that situation, somebody would probably need a hug. Yeah. Instead, they get a sack.
Yeah, they get a bag. Here, you're having a rough day here. You got some anxiety here. You know what I'm saying? You're worried about bills here. Like, but if you don't know, you don't know. Yeah. I didn't realize until I got clean this last time that I was killing my sister. I didn't realize that this last time that I got clean that I was holding my sister back, bro. Right? That I was doing nothing but damage to her, right? And so like that, you know, this incident was like the first time I experienced powerlessness, bro. Right? I remember picking up, right, going to the restroom. I took off my t-shirt, right, and I'm smoking dope in front of this mirror, bro, and I'm crying. I'm crying while I'm getting high, bro, because I don't want to lose my kids, but I don't know how to stop, bro. Right? And I started going to meetings, right? She gave us this pamphlet, right? I started going to meetings, man. I was loaded.
Yeah.
Right? Luckily, they didn't kick me out, fool, because everybody had to have known I was high, bro. I remember sitting in back of these meetings, bro, like I literally trying to sit as still as possible, right? Because I don't want to sweat. In my head, I'm like, if I sweat, they're going to smell this. So I don't want to move, right? I don't want to hug nobody. I don't want to talk to nobody. Like, I just want to sit in the back of this meeting, right? And, bro, like, I was paranoid. Everybody's looking at me. Everybody knows I'm high. Like, and I have a loaded pipe in my pocket and a sack in my sock, bro.
Yeah.
Right? Because I couldn't leave it at home with the baby's mom because she was smoking all before I got home from the meeting. Right? And I remember, like, running out of means and ways to get loaded. That was me getting clean, bro.
Yeah.
And I remember going to my first meeting because there was something about recovery that really touched my spirit, bro. Right? Because even though I was even loaded, bro.
Yeah.
Even loaded, man. There's just my brother, man. He's no longer with us, but he would share, bro, about a lot of our first messages are visual.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what it was for me, bro. I seen people that look like my mom who was an addict. I seen people who look like my neighbors who were addicts. I seen people who look like my homies who were addicts. I seen people who look like my cousins who were addicts. But the difference is, bro, they were smiling, they were laughing, and they were joking. It wasn't that fake shit like when you're playing 10,000 all night and everybody's joking and laughing.
Fake laughing?
It wasn't that, bro. It wasn't that facade that I was putting on, bro. Right? I come from a place, bro, where like I have to pay attention to people's demeanors. I have to pay attention to the way people move. I have to pay attention to body language. I have to pay attention to what they're saying without speaking, bro. So when I went there, bro, I was observing everybody, bro. And I was like, there's something about this place that is amazing, bro. And I want to be a part of this, but I did not know how to stop using, bro. And I remember, man, like I remember having a day clean. Right, running out of means and ways to get loaded. I sold all the food stamps, everything's gone, whoop de whoop, right? And I went, bro, to a meeting, and I was finally able to get a newcomer chip, bro.
And when you went to that meeting, were you on a court card?
Yes.
So you were fulfilling that obligation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't just roll in there. Okay.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, bro, it doesn't matter how you got here.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't matter, right? Wife card, husband card, kid card, court card, probation, parole, whatever.
Yeah, if I was in that position, the last thing I'd want to do coming down is go to a meeting. Yeah. A gift card got you there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and so I went to this meeting. Yeah. I took a newcomer chip, and I felt amazing, bro. I felt like this is it, bro. This could be that hope that I need. This could be that change in my life, bro. And I was walking home. I felt like I was skipping. I haven't tried to skip in a long time, so I don't know if I can. But I literally felt like I was skipping home because of how happy and how grateful I was. And one of my homies hopped out of a bush and was like, "You want to get high?" And I was like, "Absolutely, bro."
Yeah.
Right? And I'm going to fast forward, man. It was like that for a long time. Right?
So you took a few newcomer chips.
Yeah. Well, I ended up going to treatment. Right? I would get high in treatment. Right? And when the H&I came in, I would still take those 90-day chips, right, or the 60-day chip or the 30-day chip because it's just a lapse, or like I had all this rationalization and justification.
I've heard that one before. It wasn't a relapse; it was a lapse.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. That's a reopening of the disease, bro. Right? Yeah. My theory was, see, my problem wasn't drugs, bro. My problem was the way I fiend drugs. So if I could use drugs that I didn't fiend, then I was okay. So my thought process was like, if I didn't wake up in the morning feeding it, then I was okay. If it didn't pop up on a drug test for CPS, then I was okay, bro.
Yeah.
Right? And I manipulated that whole situation. I thought that I was fooling people, but the truth is I only fooled myself, bro. Right? Only fooled myself, right? And so we had the CPS case. We went to treatment twice because we relapsed in treatment, right? Relapsed in sober living. Went back to treatment, relapsed in treatment, but we found some drugs that don't pop up on drug tests, right? And at this time, bro, like I went to treatment, right? We had our 3 daughters at the time. I have a son now, right? But we had our 3 daughters at the time. And so 2 of my daughters were with the mom in treatment, and one of the daughters, my daughter, was with me in treatment, right? Yeah. And that's, it's a fucked up situation, bro. Like in hindsight, looking at that, like that's where I come from, bro. That's the pit of despair, the pit of unmanageability that I come from, and still being able to convince myself that I have some kind of control, bro. Yeah. Like that's fucking insanity.
And you believe it.
Oh, bro. I believed it. I thought I was being a good dad.
Yeah.
I had my daughter in treatment, right? I learned how to bathe her. I learned how to feed her. I learned how to change her. I never learned how to brush her hair, bro. I still don't know how to brush girls' hair, and I got 3 of them, right? I still don't know how to brush hair. But I learned how to be a dad in treatment, bro. And even in treatment, man, it was like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is what I've been waiting for my whole life, bro. Right? But I'll tell you one thing, man. What I learned in this recovery, it doesn't matter how much I want something. It doesn't matter how much I need something. All that matters is how much am I willing to get that something, bro. Yeah. And I learned that, man. And I learned that. I'm so grateful that is a principle in my life, man. I got to be willing to do something about my problem, even when I don't want to do something about my problem, bro. Because I could want this as much as I want, but if I'm not willing to do any of the work, then it doesn't freaking matter, bro.
Yeah, it won't get you anywhere.
No, nowhere, right? So I had 6 months of clean time. All right, clean time. Still drinking, still doing all that. CPS case closes. I'm already loaded before the CPS case closed, and I'm off to the races, bro. Right? There was a Facebook post memory that just popped up recently from 12 years ago where it says, I got my kids back. I still have some issues I got to work out, right? But at least I don't have nobody breathing down my neck. And that's exactly how I felt. Yeah. I didn't have nobody breathing down my neck anymore, so I'm going to do what I'm going to do, bro. And I went right back out, and I told myself, man, if I could get loaded and stay out of people's backyard with machetes, I'm going to be okay. If I could get loaded and keep hands off of my baby's mama, then I'm going to be okay. If I could get loaded, keep a roof over my kids, all that stuff, right? The insanity, bro. Right? Then everything's going to be okay, bro. Within weeks, I'm hearing voices. Within months, we're homeless, and so forth, bro. I'm talking about, like, everybody that would let me stay at their house no longer lets me stay at their house, bro. Because I'm that weird guy at the fucking kitchen table at 3 o'clock in the morning drawing, bro. Writing, right? Poet.
With a machete.
With a machete. Or at this time, now I got 2 throwing knives, you know what I'm saying, with fucking tape all over it, walking around with them tucked in my sweater, just, bro. I would put broken earbuds. Right? This is before wireless, right? I would put broken earbuds in my ear, right? I would walk around with a sweater wherever I would go pick up dope, and I would have 2 knives tucked in my sweater, and I would walk around with my head bobbing because I wanted people to think I was listening to music and that I wasn't paying attention to my surroundings, so that when they came at me, I was able to get them. Nobody was trying to come at me, bro. Nobody was there, but in my head, right? But this is the insanity, bro. Like these are those dangerous situations that God like maneuvered me through, bro. Because if He would have gave me an opportunity, bro, I could have easily hurt somebody really bad. I'm not saying I never hurt nobody, but I could have ended up in prison for a very long time. The state of mind that I was at, bro, right?
Yeah.
Last day using. We ended up in a dope spot, right?
With all the kids?
With all the kids, right? We started in the living room on a mattress. Me and my baby's mom, my three daughters, right? On a mattress in a dope spot. People in and out, in and out, in and out. We eventually got a little room in there, right? So now we have our own room. But I'm talking about bed bugs. I'm talking about roaches. I'm talking about no food in the kitchen by the 10th of the month, bro. Even though we get like, I don't know how much we were getting, but hundreds of fucking dollars of food stamps. And by the 10th, we already sold them all. We bought a little bit of food, and we have no food, right? Yeah. I'm talking about like having to go into my into the restroom after my roommates, right, use the restroom, and having to make sure that there's like no broken pipes, no syringes, no baggies, no, you know what I'm saying?
Fan it out a little bit.
Yeah. Right? Just so my kids could use the restroom safely. And this is an hour, 2 hours after I already knocked and told them that my kids had to use the restroom, bro. Right? And that was the living situation that I was in right before I got clean, man. The last day of April of 2013, right? CPS caught up to us again. And this time they weren't playing. In the first case, bro, they never took our kids from us. We always like jumped on the opportunity to do the right thing. We went to treatment even though we had our kids, and they wanted us to keep our kids, and we kept our kids for that whole CPS case, 1.5 years, and we were able to keep them. This time, bro, she came. I was arrogant. I said, well, you know what? You got to have a court order for me to drug test, so I'm not peeing for you until the judge says I have to. Yeah. She left. That night she came back with some cops, and they stripped my kids from my house, bro. Or the spot, right? Yeah. Bro.
Did it ever register with you that by the 10th of the month, it was just like how you grew up? Did that ever?
No.
Not then, right?
No, not at all. Not at all. Because in my head, I never wanted to be like either one of my parents. Yeah. And that's my truth. Yeah. I didn't want to be like either one of them. So accepting that I was either one of them just wasn't in my vocabulary, bro.
Even if the thought came, it was like.
Yeah. So there was a moment, though, 2 weeks before I got clean. 2 weeks before my kids were taken, there was a moment where, bro, I was hopeless. I'm talking about, like, just smoking to subside everything that I was feeling.
No high at all.
No high at all. Yeah. Right? I needed a few grams to even really have fun. Yeah. Right?
Fun.
Yeah. Right. To enjoy it, whatever, right? Yeah. It wasn't enjoyable. But anyways, in my head it was. Yeah. Bro, I still remember my kids screaming down the hallway when they're being taken out the house. Yeah. And I don't ever want to forget that. Because that, for me, that is like a marker in my life that I refuse to let go. I don't ever want to get to a place in my recovery where I feel like I've done enough, where I don't got to keep working, and then maybe like a drink sounds good, right? Because I know, bro, it doesn't matter what I start with, how much I start with, or what day of the week I start on, bro. The end results for me, I know, are always the same, and I've proven that to myself by trying to manage my using, bro. So as painful as that memory is, right, I don't want to forget the pain that I was in, man, because we could use pain as an excuse to keep moving in the wrong direction, or we could use that pain to say, I never want to feel that way again, so I have to stay on this path, bro. Yeah. Right? And I remember sitting on the edge of this bed, bro, in this closet full of clothes, not knowing which was clean, which was dirty, because, addicts halfway through laundry forget, right? Yeah. And so I'm like, these cops are standing by the door, bro. And there's no way I'm even thinking. I did think for a minute maybe I could tackle them and go grab my kids, but they're kind of big, right? And I was all smoked out. But anyway, and so I remember like packing up their clothes, broken, bro, in tears, right? Mm-hmm. Utterly, completely broken. And my first thought wasn't like I need to get clean. My first thought wasn't I need to go to a meeting. My first thought wasn't I need to get a job. My first thought wasn't like I need to find a safe environment for my kids. My first thought was like I need to get loaded, bro. Yeah. Right? I used because the day ended with why. I used when someone died. I used when someone was born. Right? I used when someone lost a job, when someone got a job. Right, I use because we're having fun. I use for every other reason. But one of the things I learned, man, is that pain is a big motivation for my using. And it goes back to when I lost my cousin and I couldn't deal with that. So I became the addict that I became. And I was already on track to become that addict. Whether I lost him or not, I would have became that man. Maybe it would have just took a little bit fucking longer, bro. So I understood, like I understand today that in that moment, the only thing I could think of so that I didn't kill myself that night was to fucking get loaded, bro. And I told myself, I don't need a 20. I can't get a 50. Like, I have to get something that is going to be sufficient enough, that's going to make me feel okay enough, that I'm not going to commit suicide within the next few days before court, bro. Right? Yeah. May 6th of 2013, bro, we went to court. I went into that courtroom, bro, clean just that day. I got loaded the 5 days up until then, bro. And they said, Adam, your kids were falsely taken. All you got to do is pee in this cup clean and we'll give you your kids back. By the next court day, which was like 2 weeks out, we just got to have a clean UA and a safe place for the kids to go, and you'll get your kids back. Wow. Yep. And back to my probation. If I would have stopped getting loaded the day that they took my kids, I would have been clean the day I went to court. Mm-hmm. Right? And I tried to drink some stuff to clean my system. Never works, right? Yeah. I peed in this cup. I knew that I was clean or I was dirty. And everything I had been running from came crumbling down on me. I couldn't justify. I couldn't rationalize. I couldn't minimize. I couldn't say all those excuses that I told myself for years. I couldn't do anymore, bro. Right? And so I told myself, this is my first surrender. I'm just gonna do it. I'm not picking up. I'm not getting loaded. I'm gonna get clean and I'm gonna get these kids back, because the truth is that at the end of my using, I loved getting loaded more than I loved my kids. I cared about the next one more than I cared about my kids. And I wasn't okay with that anymore. And something had to change. And I'm not telling you, bro, that I walked in, rooms of recovery with like brimming with hope and faith and trust. And bro, I was angry. I was depressed. I was lonely. I was suicidal. I felt like my whole world is upside down. I felt like, but the beautiful thing is, bro, I felt like I had a place that I could come to that was safe. That people loved me, and that just maybe if I do what these people say, that something's gonna change, bro. Right? I was 24 years old when I got clean, bro. So my clean date is May 6th of 2013, bro, and I've been clean ever since, bro. You know.
So did you have to go to treatment that last time?
I didn't. So back then, it might be like that today. I don't know, right? But back then, they would always give you an opportunity to get clean on your own. Right, so they always wanted to see, like, if they didn't have to, like, if the county, right, of San Bernardino didn't have to pay for your treatment, then they weren't going to, right? And I want to tell you, man, for me, I didn't want to go to treatment, right? It's not that it's a bad place, but it's not a good place for me, bro. Right, and I had already been introduced to the rooms, right? I already been introduced to like sponsorship, 12 steps, so forth and so forth. And I always liked that, bro. Like even when I was clean for that little bit, I would hang out with people, go to dances, do karaoke. We would play dominoes after meetings. We would go out to eat. Like it was a good place. And I thought to myself, if I can't get clean here, then I'm not gonna get clean nowhere, right? Because I'm that addict, man. I always want to hang out with the cool guys. I want to do what the cool guys are doing. If they're getting loaded, I'm getting loaded. If we're fighting in the restaurant, I want to fight in the restaurant. If we're, smuggling letters down to the girls, I want to be the one smuggling down the letters to the girls, bro. Yeah. You can relate, huh? Yeah. And so I want to be that guy, and I knew that I needed to stay focused and surround myself with the right people, bro, right? And I'm not saying the treatment doesn't work, because, treatment's an amazing stepping stone. It's a good place for people to go, but in this part of my life, it just wasn't an option. If I could stay clean, they weren't gonna do it. And I wasn't willing to risk getting loaded again. I wanted to give this the best that I could, bro. I wanted to give the best that I could.
So what did your first year look like?
Oh, rough.
Was it?
Rough, bro. Okay. Rough. And it's so funny, bro, because I got a lot of guys, right, that we talk about recovery and they'll say nice things about me, right? And I'm like, bro, if you could, like, if I could like touch you, right, like a movie, and not those kind of movies, but if I could touch you like a movie and show you like the struggle that I had to endure the first few years of my recovery, you would understand why I'm in the spiritual place that I'm in, bro. Right? You would understand like why I try to look at the positive. You would understand why I can't give up, right? You would understand like all that stuff, because, bro, early recovery, man, I slept on my aunt's couch for the first year of my recovery, bro. And I love my aunts. Shout out to my aunts, my tias, my cousins. They all walked with me. They all loved me. They all were there for me, bro. I had dinner served to me, man, but they drank in the kitchen and they smoked weed in the backyard, right? And sorry, I don't mean to be a snitch, but they did a little dope in the restroom, bro. Right? That's just the truth, right? Yeah. I'm here to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, bro, right? Because it's important for me to convey my message and tell you exactly where I come from, bro. And that's where I started, bro. And I never had a driver's license. I didn't even know how to drive, bro, when I got clean, right? At 15, when I stole that car, after I stole that car, I never stole another car again. I learned my lesson, bro. I got beat up. I went to the hospital, went to jail, all in one breath, bro. I'm not doing that no more. I stopped stealing cars. I'm not getting in nobody's car, right? So, and I rode a bike, bro, and I worked at, Little Caesars, right? For 2 years, I worked there, became a manager, did all that. But I'm telling you, bro, like, I would ride the bike to meetings, man. Like, there are people who were here before me will tell you stories about how I used to roll up to the local meeting, bro, right? With a diaper bag around me, bro. A stroller, right? And my kids next to me, bro. showing up sweating because I had to walk, 7 blocks, pushing this stroller. Right, but I knew I needed to do something. But I didn't have a day. Early recovery, I didn't have a day off. I didn't have a day where like I relaxed and watched TV. I didn't have that, bro. I have that now because I've earned that, bro. But early recovery, bro, like the thought of using was regular, bro. The thought of throwing my life away was regular. And the fucked up thing is, bro, I was no longer tethered to a dream that I could use successfully. So when I thought about using it, I just thought like, fuck it, I'll throw my whole life away today. Yeah. I'll throw it all away today, right now. Right? And so, and riding that bike, being hit by cars, right?
You got hit by a car riding a bike?
Yeah. I was a manager at Little Caesars. I was working at Del Taco, and I would work one job in the morning, and then I would ride my bike home, get ready for Little Caesars, and then I would head to Little Caesars to be the closing manager, bro, right? And one day, bro, and I probably had like maybe a little over a year clean, but I was riding my bike, right? And I had my headphones in, right? Listen to hip-hop music, whatever, right? And I had the right-of-way, but so did the other guy if I wasn't in the road. Yeah. But I was in the road, so he hit me, boom. Rode on his hood, right? I've been hit by a few cars, as you can tell, right? I rode over his hood, bro. I got off, right? And like, I physically feel decent, right? I have adrenaline pumping. I don't feel hurt. I don't feel nothing, right? The guy's like, I'm sorry, right? And I'm like, it's cool. And then I look at my bike and it's all twisted up, and I'm like, you mother, blah, 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 right? Yeah. And I think he gave me like $50, maybe, right? $50, right? And I was not a normal citizen back then, bro. I didn't know about calling cops. I didn't know about calling ambulance. I didn't know about like calling insurance. I could have had a lot of money at that time, right? But I didn't do any of that, bro. So I'm standing at this park with my twisted bike, bro. And this park is a bad park. Everybody's getting loaded in the park, drinking, smoking, whatever they're doing, right? And it's dark time and it's raining, right? And I call my sister to come pick me up. She comes because she has a van. She comes pick me up, right? Well, while I'm standing there waiting for my sister, man, I get on the phone with my sponsor, bro, and I'm like, F you, F the program, F the steps, like, because I had it in my head, bro, that like if I worked all the steps, right, if I'm of service, if I'm praying, if I'm being there for the newcomer, if I'm doing it, that automatically my life was supposed to get better, bro. But that's not how it works, man. Yeah. Right? I heard on another podcast, man, he said recovery doesn't open up the gates of heaven to let you in. It opens up the gates of hell to let you out, bro. Right? And so I thought that if I got in recovery, that everything was just going to get better right away. But that's not the reality of it, bro. I had a lot of residual, however you say that, pain. I had a lot of unaddressed issues. I had a lot of stuff. So I had like this ego, right, that I'm supposed to be somewhere that I wasn't ready for, bro. Yeah. So I called my sponsor. I tell him all this stuff. He says, I'm picking you up for a meeting. So I go home, right? I take my bike. I go to a meeting. I go to a meeting, I share, because that's what I'm taught to do, bro. Yeah. Right? Regardless if I have a good day, a bad day, a different day, whatever, bro. Like I shoot up and I show up. And I learned that from the first few months of my recovery of just going. So when my ass was falling off, I knew where to go. I went to this meeting, bro, and I was like, fuck this, fuck the program, F you, F this. Some dude said, give it to your God. I said, F you and your God. I'm surprised I didn't get beat up that day, bro. That's how bad my attitude was, bro. Right? But I went home and I didn't pick up and I didn't get loaded, bro. I woke up the next day. I looked at this bike that was in my hallway, right? And at this time, I'm like renting a room, right? And I looked at this bike and I said, it's fixable. I called a few people from the program. They helped me. I think they actually helped me get like a new bike, right? Not a brand new bike, but someone was selling a bike for like $30 and they bought it for me. And so now I got a new bike, right? And I just continue to move, bro. I continue to push forward because, I used to have like 100 options. Yeah. If I do this, I can make it here. If I do that, I can make it. Today, bro, I have 2 options. I either keep moving forward with the life that I have, or I go back to the way that I was living, bro. And that price is too high to pay today, bro. Yeah. Right? No matter how rough my life gets today, bro, I know a friend of mine right now who is packing up and leaving his spot because he relapsed and he has nowhere to go, bro. Right? And even just hearing that, as messed up as that is a message for me, bro. And that tells me my life is not great, right? I mean, no, my life is fantastic. But there's certain situations in my life I don't really like that I'm learning how to accept, right? But as bad as it may feel, or as bad as it may seem, it's not that bad. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's not that bad. Me and my kids aren't packing up our shit right now, bro. right? And so that was my first year of recovery. Anything that could go wrong went wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do that too. I run to a meeting and I get grateful. Really.
Yeah.
I hear some guys sharing with like 2 days and I get grateful.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah.
So how about at, so you got a little over 10.
Yep.
What was it like at year 5?
Year 5, I don't. I'll tell you what it was like at year 2.
Okay.
Because year 5, I don't think there's anything that really stands out to me. They say that you hear a pop and that's your head coming out of your ass, right? But then someone told me some really smart stuff. They said, for the first, it takes 5 years to get your head out of your ass, and it takes another 5 years to wipe the shit off your face. So, I can relate to that, right? Because the last 5 years have been a lot better than the first 5. But at 2 years clean, I got full custody of my kids, bro. The mother of my kids, and I'm not trying to talk down or disrespect anybody. I love her. I care about her. She is out there getting loaded, and I pray for her. I was resentful towards her for a long time. At this point in my recovery, I just want her to find the help that she needs, bro, right? And so she started getting loaded, bro, and I remember going crazy. Like, what am I going to do? Like, I work at Little Caesars. Like, how am I going to, like, pay for them? Like, I can't really pull them away, right? Like, all that stuff, man. And a member told me, man, he said, the same God that was protecting them when you were getting loaded is the same God that's protecting them now. Yes. And just that small little phrase, bro, was able to just, like, and that's why for me it's important to have people in my life, bro, because I'm sick up here, bro. I'm crazy. Even with 10 years clean, bro, I'm still not all the way there, but knowing that I have people that could just say one phrase, one word, one suggestion that could just ease my mind and bring me back down to earth and say it's going to be okay today, right, is important for me, bro. And at 2 years clean, the mother of my children, hit one of my daughters excessively and left bruises on her back, bro. And my first thought is kill her, right? And there was this like long, grueling process where I called the cops, I called CPS. Nobody could do nothing for me. Nobody was helping me. I went to, file for emergency custody, and they wouldn't do it because it was he said, she said. Like, there was no evidence. Like, the cops came and made a police report, but they never picked it up, right? And so all this stuff, bro, right? And so like, I felt powerless, bro, right? But I kept trugging at it, man. I kept, like, taking the next indicated step. And a month from that day where everything happened, I ended up getting full custody of my kids, bro, right? And I'm working in treatment now, and I have a car. Right. And now I gotta, I'm renting a room for someone. Now I gotta find a place to live. And that's what, led me living on a mountain of San Bernardino, getting out of the ghetto so my kids have a safer environment to live in, right? And so forth, man. And I want to tell you, man, that like a lot of times we have this idea, like if I get the job, the car, the girl, the kids, you know what I'm saying? All that stuff, then like happily ever after, right? But I want to tell you, bro, that I was angry. I was frustrated. I wanted to hurt people. I was punching holes in my wall. I was, acting out in many character defects and shortcomings, bro. And it takes a while, bro. Right? It takes a while. So, at 2 years clean, bro, I got my kids back. I was in a toxic relationship. We could say that majority was her, bro, but the program teaches me how to look at myself and what I had going on, right? And luckily, man, like we're both in the program right now, and she's doing an amazing program, and she's living a good life, and she's taking really good care of herself. And we're able to sit down, and I was able to make my amends to her, and I was able to like kind of shut the door on that guy that I used to be, and kind of move forward, man. But like at 7 years clean, I found myself homeless again. Right, having to worry about like where my kids are gonna sleep, and we slept. It's different homeless, right? Because now people love me, and now people. I mean, they never stopped loving me, right? Yeah. And the sister that I'm talking about, man, I still see those Facebook memories, right? Yeah. Where I'll post like, I got 30 days clean, right? And she'll comment on there. She's not doing it to be mean, but where she was at, like where my family was at, especially her, right? Because she's the only one that was clean. If my other family would have tried to do an intervention at me, I would be like, dude, we got high yesterday. What are you talking about, right? So that wasn't gonna happen. But this one was the clean one, right? She was the one that never got into drugs, alcohol, had a successful life, but she would comment on my stuff saying, again, Well, I guess that's a good thing. Congratulations. Right? And I look at that and I'm like, man, like my sister was like hoping every time I got clean that was it for me, that was the time where things were going to change, right? And she loves, I love that kid, man. I love my other sister too. My other sister's clean. You know, I love my sisters are like my go-to people, bro. Right? Like I have my family in recovery, right? But my sisters are like they're just everything to me, bro. Like I bounce relationships off of them. I bounce career moves off of them. I bounce all that stuff because I know how much they love me. I know how much they care about me. And I know that they want what's best for me. And they're always going to tell me the truth, right? Obviously, again, 30 days? Okay, yeah, well, I guess that's good, right? So they're always going to be honest with me, bro. And so I ended up at my sister's house. She took really good care of us. She took really good care of me. I was working, trying to make it, right? And I remember like just fixating, bro. Like I need a home for my kids. I need a home for my kids. I need a home for my kids. And I finally found a home back on the mountain again, right around the corner from my old place, right? And the reason why I ended up homeless because me and that girl broke up. She wouldn't leave. I didn't want to be ugly and like a Victor. I didn't want to be ugly and you know have my anyways, right? I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to be a spiritual, principled person as possible, right? And probably to my own detriment, but whatever, right? And so I got this house, man, and I remember not owning but renting. I remember going up there right before work and signing the paperwork, bro, right? Mm. And I remember driving away, bro, and I remember just like this loud scream came out of me, bro, because it's like, fuck, like it finally happened, bro, right? And I have those moments, bro, where I just have like all this stuff, like I'm raising 4 kids on my own, bro, right? My daughter's 20 years old. I have a 13-year-old daughter. I have a 12-year-old daughter, and I have my 9-year-old son, who are absolutely everything to me, bro. Like the reason that I am like so determined to like not fail and so determined to make sure like everything goes as smoothly as possible is for them, bro. Like I was fucking like I remember, man, like always being that guy that was willing to die for my kids. Like, you know, I think as a man, for me personally, bro, like man, we're always willing. Like there's always some people in our life we're willing to die for. Mm-hmm. But what I realized, man, is that I wasn't willing to live for them, bro. And I'm not saying that my recovery is based on them because it's not, bro. They were my early motivation, right? And you know, the first year or the first few months, I was like, when are they going to come home? When are they going to come home? Because they were in foster care. When are they going to come home? And then somewhere along the line of working steps, I got to a point where I was like, God gave me this time to be alone. He gave me this time to build recovery. And I need to just like work this process to the best of my ability until they come home so that when they do come home, I'm going to be ready for them. Right. And so they are not my only motivation. Right. They're not my reason to stay clean. My reason to stay clean, bro. I don't hate myself anymore. I don't look at myself in the mirror and I'm not disgusted with who I am as a man, bro. I'm actually, bro, and this isn't like ego, right? But I'm proud of myself, bro. Hell yeah. I look at myself and I'm like, man, you were such a, I wouldn't say weak, but you were such a broken person, bro, that anything that stood in my way of having a happy life would deter me, bro. And today, man, like I might not have everything I want in my life, but I have everything I need, bro. Right? And I feel good about who I am, right? And I feel good about the relationships I have with my kids, bro.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So one more thing before we wrap this up. I just want to know what do you do to stay clean today?
Oh. So I want to.
What's that look like?
What's that look like, bro? I'll tell you one thing, man. I didn't get here to help. I didn't get here to be loving. I didn't get here to be compassionate. I didn't get here to be empathetic. I didn't even know what those words meant, bro. Yeah. I really didn't. My first few years of recovery was about getting me right? Doing everything that I can to get into a spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical place in my life where I'll be okay. Yeah. Today, bro, the biggest thing that keeps me clean are people who are in early recovery. Yeah. Right? Not even, and I'm not saying the newest newcomer. I love those guys, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about anybody who has come after me, bro. I feel like when I got to the rooms of recovery, bro, there was people there waiting for me. That's how I felt, bro. Like they were waiting.
They were, bro.
They're waiting to hug me. They're waiting to love me. They're waiting to...
They've been praying for you, bro.
I know.
They've been praying for you, and they didn't even know you yet. Bro. It's amazing.
And having a safe place to go, even now, but more so in early recovery, was important to me, bro. And I want to be that guy now, right? And it's not ego. It's not, look what I'm doing, right? Because I don't ever... get on a podium or share about how many sponsees I got or how many, look at what I did for that person or this person, bro. Yeah. But it gives me purpose in my life to be able to be there for other men who are like me, bro. Yeah. Other men who have suffered the same way that I suffered, right? And I could tell them it's going to be okay. Like, you're in the right place. Like, I know you're having a hard day, but you're going to get through this, right? And just to be there for the new guys is what keeps me clean today. But that also entails still going to meetings. That also entails still working my program in the steps, traditions, stuff like that. That still entails being of service on certain meetings, right? That also entails, all that stuff, being there for my kids, all that stuff. But I would say the most gratification I get is helping guys like me, bro.
So is that why you have the job that you have right now?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So you work in treatment.
I work in treatment. Yeah,
but that I've heard. I've never worked in treatment, but I've heard that some people can easily confuse that for working a program.
Bro,
is that true? Or?
It happens everywhere.
Yeah,
every treatment center that I've worked at, right? I've been at the treatment center I work at now for the last 6 years, right? But people stop working a program, bro.
Yeah,
right. And they, for me, my recovery is taken everywhere with me, bro. If I worked at Walmart, my recovery would be there. If I worked at a warehouse, my recovery would be there, right? So when I work in treatment, my recovery is there. But that is not my only source of recovery, right? And people say like, oh, like you're not really being of service, right? You're not really helping people because people are paying to be there, or people have insurance to be there, right? But are you saying that to the heart doctor who saved a kid? And I'm not saying I'm a heart doctor. I'm not saying I'm saving people's life. But what I'm saying is, bro, is that the energy that I like to bring is the same energy I like to bring in my personal life, man. It's that love, that compassion. Like, I'm here for you. Like, I'm gonna treat you the way you should be treated as a newcomer, bro. I'm gonna treat you as you should be treated as someone who was hurting, bro, right? And I get a lot of good responses from that, bro. I get a lot of good responses. And so, like, I'm not good at recovery because I'm good at my job, bro. I'm good at my job because I have such a strong recovery, bro. And I tell these guys, when I'm running a group, like, this isn't something that I talk about and then go home and don't live about, bro. This is like, it's engulfed in every aspect of my life, bro. We have business meetings at home, bro. We have spiritual principles most of the time practice at home. We have that love and compassion at home, right? And so for me, man, I love working in treatment, right? I got some big goals, some big dreams, all that stuff. Well, we can talk about that later when it starts happening. But my point is, bro, is that me personally, I can't let off the gas, right? And maybe there are people who work in treatment who have more clean time than me, who have been around longer than me, right? But for me, man, I'm even when I'm not happy, I know how to get happy. When I become ungrateful, I have a program that teaches me how to be grateful, right? Because, again, it's not the absence of these things. It's not the absence of being miserable. It's not the absence of being ungrateful. It's not the absence of acting out in bad behavior. But when I have a program in my life, I know how to, kind of bring it back down to earth, right? Yesterday, this, I had a horrible day. I was angry. I was rude to a few of my coworkers. Today, I feel amazing. I feel fantastic. I was back to the normal Adam, and that's what a program does for me, bro. My sponsor, I'll end with this because I know we're running out of time, right? But my sponsor, bro, he would always tell me. He said, especially early recovery, he said, "You know what I like about you, Adam?" He says, "You always have a problem," right? He said, "But it's not always the same problem," right? He says, when people come even when people come to me on one day, and they have a problem, and I offer them solutions, and I offer them what suggestions and what can we do, right? And then a month later, you're coming to me with the same problem. There's a problem there.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has problems, bro. It doesn't matter who you are, how much money you have, how much money you don't. If you got a girl, if you don't got a girl, if you got a job, everybody has problems.
Yeah.
But not everybody has solutions, bro. Yeah. Right? And that's what the program keeps me tethered to, bro. I think I would go insane working in the field that I work in if I wasn't working my own program. Yeah, I know I would.
Found out my skin's tough as leather. I can storm through any weather. Addiction was the hardest battle I ever endeavored. It takes a lot of effort to apply all of this pressure. Being higher than propellers only drove me through the shredder. I need some hope right now. Can you spare some hope right now? I can use some hope right now. Can you spare some hope right now? Lately I've been thinking about this life and how it brought me here. Staring at this man in the mirror, I see him often here. Wipe my tears only if you knew what I was going